Good morning, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mahavani and I warmly welcome all of you to Study IQ. I hope you all are doing good. Today is the 13th April and let's see what we have got in the Hindu today. But before that, I would like to have a quick word with you on sleep. Let's go through this fact first. Sleep makes you more creative and makes your memories stronger. Now, the thing is that, dear friends, your exams are not far, and if you are thinking to cut down on your sleep, then if you ask me personally, then I would say that you are making a bit mistake here. What you can do is you can cut down on all this unnecessary chatting that we do nowadays on our phones. You can cut down your social media time. You can cut down your television time, entertainment time. You can play around with other things, but make sure you don't cut down your sleep quota, or else it will hamper your performance. Trust me, it will hamper your performance. And sleeping for less hours and wasting time in the daytime is not at all a sign of hard work. So make sure you are aware about this thing as well. Now, today, as you can see, you have 2 pages full of articles, but not all articles are important for us. Now, let's start with not that much important article. This is about Chennai loses out. It is about this IPL and this protest that is going on. Finally, the match will not take place in, or the matches will not take place in Chennai at present. And yesterday I saw a comment as well. Someone said that this livelihood opportunity is lost in Chennai and this match is shifted to Pune. So it's balanced. It's not balanced because I was talking about this local people who supply various different items during this match. So anyways, not going into all this argumentative thing. But here is the thing, it is about IPL and something that is totally, like IPL has nothing to do with this Kaveri issue. Kaveri issue is not something that is only affecting just the state of Chennai, right? You have other 3 parties, you have Centre and rivers, as said by Supreme Court, and this is right as well. River is not something that belongs to just one state or couple of states, right? It belongs to the nation. So it is a national issue and there is no point in targeting cricket and other sports. Anyways, you have this Ayushman Bharat, yes, no, or it's complicated. Now, remember when this scheme was launched, we have gone through this Ayushman Bharat scheme. We have discussed about many things like primary healthcare is one of the most important thing. This scheme is also talking about this health and wellness centers. Then you have this preventive way of dealing with diseases rather than being curative. Ayushman Bharat basics, I'm sure you all know about this thing. It is about 5 lakh rupees insurance per family, and we are trying to cover what, 10 crore families. So roughly speaking, we are trying to cover 50 crore people in our country. This is going to be the world's biggest insurance schemes. But this means just providing insurance will not sort out all the problems that we have. This is, of course, a good step in a right direction, but we have to provide, means this is just what you are doing is you have this supply side, right? When I say supply, I'm talking about this medical facilities that will become part of this supply. So if there is a demand of medical facilities, if people are getting ill, then they need good facilities as well to get cure, and we need to take preventive steps as well. So if you go through all this yes, no, and it's complicated view, basically what you will find, of course you will find some facts and figures in it, but you will also find that most of the things are already discussed by us on this platform in detail. This one is about this budget session of Telangana, and it is talking about this opposition parties were not there and things like, again, it is a very political one. This one is a very funny cartoon. I have a big picture for you later on. We'll go through it. Now, coming on to most important articles. This one is about crime in Kathua, this rape case, and this one is again associated with Kathua, as well as it is associated with this rape case of Uttar Pradesh. So we'll go through it. I have clubbed both these articles together. One is editorial and one is article. Now, when I say article, then make sure you are just, I'm not being too specific here, right? When I say article, it doesn't matter whether it is an editorial or article. Now, it's been enough time. We have been discussing this sort of things for a very long period of time, so I don't think so I have to break it down each time when I say article and editorial. So we can club these two articles together, and this one is about science. Very interesting article on science, that why we should trust science. So I have kept this one bit later on, but let's start with this crime in Kathua. Now, before moving ahead, if you want to download the PDF of today's lecture, you can get it from my Facebook page or my Twitter handle. And good news I have for you is that up to 50% off is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. Now on your screen you can see the range of things that we offer, right? We have got test series and we have got some new courses as well. And let me tell you one more thing, that these courses are designed by the best faculties of our country. Now this up to 50% off is going to be there for 18th of April only. So make sure you make the most out of it. If you want to have a word with someone regarding it, then you can give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen, or you can also use this chat support, and other information pertaining to this, our pen drive and tablet courses, is available on StudyIQ.com. So just have a go at StudyIQ.com, just log on or just check out our website, and you'll find everything about our pen drive and tablet courses. Now let's start with this crime in Kathua, this horrific thing. It all started back in January, 10th January 2018, right? A girl went missing, and her father filed a police complaint that she is missing on 12th of January. On 17th January, we found the body of this girl. She was abducted, she was raped, and she was murdered. And she was 8-year-old girl. Can you imagine? 8-year-old small little girl. She was abducted, she was raped, and she was murdered this year. And this is happening after what, the biggest you can say awareness thing that was out there when very sadly Nirbhaya was raped. And after that we have seen this, of course we have seen this rise in this registration of rape cases, and this is a good thing. When I'm saying good thing, I'm being very responsible here. What I'm trying to say is that if this sort of horrific incidents are taking place anywhere, at least nowadays we have this environment that where the girls or the ladies, right, they have this supportive environment that they will come out and register a case. Earlier on it was nearly impossible for them to come out, because of this society used to target these victims, that it should be your fault, you might have done something, you might have sent a wrong gesture and things like that, rather than punishing and blaming this person who has committed this horrific crime. Anyways, coming back to this topic, her name is Asifa Bano, and at present you find a very ugly form of communal politics. Recently we saw this protest for this film, right, Padmavati. Then we saw this protest for this Dalit and Supreme Court taking a stand on this Anti-Atrocity Act and other things. There are other, you can say, demands or protests that were going on. But I hardly see, like, what we see is that in our country that we find particular communities, right, coming out and asking for, or they are worried about their rights. As an Indians, we are not seeing these youngsters debating this thing on online platform. We don't see people coming out and protesting against this sort of things, because here we think that we are fine. It's she was not my daughter, or she was not my sister, so it's all right. But when it happens to someone, God forbid. But I think if we should take stand on this sort of things. I'm not saying that people should take up violence, but at least now we have this most powerful thing, right, in our hand, this smartphone. You can use it, you can take a stand on this thing, and you can write down on your Facebook and whatever you can do, as far as it's not against the law, because I would certainly not promote this thing. And of course we don't want to see a society that is taking law in its own hand. But we can, of course, take a stand, and as a young country we should be aware about this thing. Anyways, moving on, this Jammu and Kashmir Court Bar Association has demanded the CBI inquiry. Now, one thing that I would like to highlight here is that CBI inquiry is demanded not because CBI is flawless or CBI is supreme. CBI as well is a caged parrot. But when you compare CBI with this police investigation of this Jammu and Kashmir, then of course high chances are there that you will trust CBI than the police. And the reason why I'm saying this thing is because if you go through this charge sheet that is filed in the court of this case, what we find here is that some policemen are charged with destroying evidence. Can you believe this thing? Policemen are the person who is being duty bound, who takes this oath that he or she will protect. Or here you have this man lot, so he will protect the society, is the same person who is destroying evidence. 6 men were arrested. Among them you have this special police officer, a retired revenue official, and his family members. The other thing is, this is not enough. The girl was sedated. She was given some sort of pills, so she was unconscious. She was raped in turn, and this was not enough. A person or an associate who was living in Meerut, he was called all the way to here in Jammu and Kashmir to basically rape this girl. And they also decided that they will kill her a bit later on because a person from this gang was wishing to rape her again before killing her. So I means, to be honest, it gives me immense pain to discuss this thing with you guys, but this is a reality, and I'm being very logical here. I'm trying my level best to be not emotional here, but this is a very sad thing. I'm sure it is very painful to go through this sort of news items right early in the morning or any time of the day. Now, it is a shame that the state government has been so feeble in criticizing this sectarian undercurrents. What we are seeing is that this rape means the things that are coming out as per the charge sheet. If you go through the charge sheet, it is saying that this whole conspiracy was against this Gujar Bakarwal community. The main motive here was to instill fear amongst this nomadic tribes, and the main rape was a deliberate plan to terrorize this Bakarwal community. They are scheduled tribes, this Bakarwals and Gurjars. Their faith is they follow Islam. Now, specific thing about Gujar community and this Bakarwal is that Gujars, right, they own a bit of land and they are engaged in dairy industry. So they supply milk and other things. Remember this thing because you find this type of things in MCQs. So Gurjars they own land and they are associated with dairy community, beg your pardon, dairy industry. And then you have this Bakarwals. They are nomadic tribe. Even today they migrate from one place to another. They follow this season. So in winter time they will come back to, they will be in Jammu, in the forests of Jammu, and then they will take their herd in the summertime to this valley and this Kashmir Valley and Ladakh in summer. So they follow this season and their goats and their animals basically for their food. So they migrate from one place to another. And if you go back in the history of our country, then you will find that nomadic tribes, right, they have always, they are harassed they were harassed by British as well. They were harassed by other kings as well, because they have this unique way of surviving. They travel from one place to another. They are seen as a bit suspicious tribe, but they are not. Anyways, this is the thing regarding this Bakarwals and Gujar. Now, you have this munch or this group called Hindu Ekta Munch, and now they are agitating and they are mobilizing against this whole thing. And you might be, it gives out on the first look, it looks like they are so kind that they are agitating against this sort of rape that has took place in this Jammu and Kashmir. But if you observe, or what they are asking for, what they are saying is, they are saying that this investigation is wrong. What they are saying is that all these people who are arrested, they are Hindus, and the girl child was a Muslim. So it's a big conspiracy. And the sad thing is that you have this Bharatiya Janata Party's Forest Minister Lal Singh and Industries Minister Chandar Prakash Ganga. Both of them are in Jammu and Kashmir. They are the ones who are taking this sort of stand. They are supporting this Hindu Ekta Manch. And I'm sure you have got the message here, right? Not targeting any particular party, but this is a very sad thing. Investigation is and should be scientific, right? You have a charge sheet in which you have all these people, and the premises of a temple was used. They should be agitating against this thing, that why you are raping someone in a prayer room of a temple. Rather than that, they are arguing for, in normal circumstances, they will argue for this sort of things, on religious things, that you have done this and this with this and that thing. But now you are, look at their hypocrisy here. And then you have another hypocrisy of Sangh Parivar, that you know that they are against this Article 370, but when it comes to this Forest Rights Act of 2006, they are supporting this Article 370, because this Bakarwal and Gurjar communities, the Sangh Parivar has basically taken this shelter under Article 370, because under this FRA of 2006, it prevents this application of Bakarwal, or their forest right are prevented, or they are automatically not applied. So here they are supporting this Article 370. On normal times they are against this Article 370. So here you have this hypocrisy. Now you have this another case of Uttar Pradesh over in Unnao. A 17-year girl, right? She basically tried to file a case of rape against an MLA. Now she has to go for a protest outside the house of Chief Minister, a Chief Minister who is there with a mandate, and we know it very well that Uttar Pradesh is infamous, very sadly, for many different types of crime. And you find this girl, 17-year-old girl, a minor, right? She was raped as per, she has said that she was raped, and what we are seeing a couple of days ago, her father died as well. Now the case means the police refused to file this FIR against MLA. This MLA side, they have filed a case against this family of this girl, and the girl, they have filed a case against this MLA and their associates. But what we see is that the father of the girl was taken into custody rather than this MLA. We are seeing some horrific statements out there by many different people from Uttar Pradesh, very famous faces. Their statements are very inhuman, and we recently saw this tweet by VK Singh. Union Minister VK Singh said that we have failed. We failed her as human. This girl, we have failed her. This rape victim, we failed her as humans. But here this article is saying that when he is using this word we in his tweet, he should have said that his colleagues in Jammu and his colleagues in Uttar Pradesh have failed in not basically supporting this victim. Rather than being there with this accused people, they are supporting this accused people rather than being there with this victim. And it is also leaving us with this very bitter statement, and which is right as well, that Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign and the Prime Minister's words on women empowerment. Where is our Prime Minister? Why he is not speaking something about it? Now I do understand that if something is going on in our country, Prime Minister cannot respond to each and everything. But here it is a matter of, means you have your Uttar Pradesh, in Uttar Pradesh and in your Jammu and Kashmir, your party people are associated with this sort of thing. So you should take a stand, and Prime Minister should come out and speak about this thing. This is a very important thing, I personally believe. So this is the thing that is going on in our country. It is really, really sad. And let's move on, dear friends. Let's see why we should trust science. Now, it has been a time of crisis for science over the past several years, because the reason why it is a time of crisis is because we have seen many silly comments in our country, right? I don't want to name and blame any particular person, but recently we saw this theory of evolution was challenged. Earlier on we saw this, we heard this thing that this first surgery or head transplant was done in India and things like that. So we have heard this sort of statements. We have heard that we used to have this aeroplanes back in when 5,000 years ago, maybe 4,000 years ago. We used to have aeroplanes and other things. Now, the world of science and the world of myth and religion is altogether different. In science, you have this three pillars. You have one thing that is called facts, you have logic, and you have reason. Based on these three things, you prove something. And in the world of myth, in the world of religion, you have, of course, you cannot, you can understand this thing very well. You all are mature adult students, so we cannot use facts, and we cannot rely on facts and logic and reason, right? Because faith is something, if you ask me, then I would say that where you don't have to use logic, right? You trust something enough that now you don't need logic, reasoning, or fact. You are happy with it. And this is as well something that is part of our life. There is no harm in it as well. But you cannot mix these two things here. If you are claiming that we had this aeroplanes, now you are talking about some scientific thing, right? If you are saying that head transplant was done first time in our country back in what 2,000, 5,000 years ago, whatever, then you need to provide some facts, some logical conclusion and reason. Now let's go through this facts, logic and reason. What logic, fact and reason is all about. Now starting with facts, right? Facts are basically patterns that we observe, and the evidence that we collect, right? The items, these are called basically facts. Now when we talk about logic is something that you have a sort of path, or you can say the best thing is logic stitches this observations or these items that we have collected, these facts, right? Logic stitches this facts and this data that we have collected together. But logic has to strictly stay in this street. The street of logic is having a sort of limited length and breadth. You cannot have say for example unlimited, or you cannot step out. When you step out of this, when your logic is not logical, right? Let me put it this way: when your logic is not logical, then you cannot say that is a logic. I hope I'm not confusing you too much with this thing. So logic as well should follow some rules and regulation. It cannot be a vague thing, and you have some sort of fixed parameters out of which you cannot go. And then you have this reason. What reason does is basically it creates this hypothesis, right? It will test this facts and logic. You can use your creativity, you can use your imagination when you are using this, applying this thing called reasoning. You can apply your mathematical thinking and other thing, and then you come out with something, and then you have this pattern. That's what we call this is the world of science, based on these three important pillars: facts, logic and reason. Together, all these three things together proves that something is scientific or something is not scientific. I hope it is making sense here. It's a bit difficult to explain this sort of terminologies, but I have tried my level best. Now, this both logic and reason allow us to acquire more evidence, and this triangular structure is at the heart of scientific method. Now, talking about this theory of evolution, you know, recently one very famous person in our country, he basically said that this theory of evolution of Darwin is not right, or it's not good, etc. Yes, you can do that thing. You can come out with, you can challenge any theory that is out there, but you cannot just use your words. You have to provide this facts, logic and reason for this thing, and then people will listen to you, and then that can be considered as a true thing. Because in the world of science, how it works is that scientists, right, these people, they are always challenging each other about these ideas, facts and results. And this is the beauty of science. It is a sort of ongoing thing. We learn something new every day, and this decora or this method is the root of this scientific development, and it helps in the development of our society as well. So that's basically everything about this article. Now moving on to news item, important news item. Yesterday we were talking about this 15th Finance Commission, and now Prime Minister has said, yesterday we talked about this this article that was written by Chief Minister of Kerala. It was basically about this 15th Finance Commission, and we discussed about this population thing. So Prime Minister has assured this southern states that, and Prime Minister has basically suggested to this 15th Finance Commission to consider incentivizing these states that have worked on population control. So here is a small regional discontent, predominantly the southern states. They have invested good amount of money for population control, and population control is not something that can be done from one area only. You have to work on all different areas like health sector, you have education, awareness campaign and other things. So these states should not be penalized. In fact, Prime Minister has said that they should get some extra money, right, a sort of incentive that you have done very well. So this is a good move. I hope this southern states will be all right with this thing, but let's wait and watch. The other thing is that his visit was a bit peaceful in international media. This thing was reported that black flags and other things were shown to Prime Minister. People were basically not happy with this centre's stand on this Kaveri issue, but his visit was all right. It was not that bad. Now you can go through this picture here that you find in today's Hindu. Moving on to another item coming from Jammu and Kashmir. Now the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Mehbooba, has said that she has basically vowed to ensure this justice will be delivered in this Kathua rape case. She said that investigations are on fast track, and let's hope that things are all right with this case. Moving on to another item, ruling on Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Act is causing great damage, has been said by the centre to the Supreme Court. And this case is going on. This hearing, this review petition was filed by the centre in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is going through it. So let's wait for some more days to get some more clarification on this thing. Justice Chelameshwar has said that he won't hear this master of roster plea. He has clearly said that he is not going to listen to this master of roster thing, because he already a couple of days ago, I think it was on Sunday, isn't it? Sunday, I provided this this article. He had a interview with, I think, Prakash Karat. I can't remember the journalist's name, but I think it was on Sunday we discussed about this thing. He said that if Chief Justice of India is having extra energy, then he can go through all the cases that he is going through. He's taking some extra case in his hand. So there is clearly this, you can say, clear cracks are visible in the structure of Supreme Court. You have Chief Justice of India who has again said that he is the master of roster. It is Chief Justice of India's prerogative to decide which case will be allotted to whom. And then you have this senior most, second rank 2 in terms of seniority after CJI. You have this Justice Chelameshwar who has said that he is basically against this master of roster thing, but he has said that he does not want to take a stand on this thing. Let Chief Justice of India decide about this thing. So this is not a very good scenario of our Supreme Court at present. Justice Chelameshwar took a stand against this collegium as well many a times. Now, again, I don't want to comment on the things that we hear in this legal community, but anyways, let's wait and watch. Let's see whether Supreme Court is going to take, or CJI is going to take any stand on this thing. Now, you have this Justice Kurian Joseph, who has took a clarion call, or he has basically urged CJI that rather than going on all these things, it is better that Supreme Court takes a stand on this appointment thing, or this problem that is going on between Supreme Court and government. This government has, how it works is basically Collegium will provide some names to this law ministry, and then law ministry will go through it, or the government, let's say central government, will go through this list. And if central government is not happy with some people, then some judges, then it will reject those names. So this sort of things are going on. This has created this problem. Then this NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Commission, was rejected by Supreme Court. Then you have this memorandum of procedure on which still things are not decided yet. So there are many problems going on, and this is basically hampering this delivery mechanism, justice delivery mechanism, because you have huge amount of vacancy at all different levels. Modi is going to be there in UK, and he is going to visit Sweden as well. In Sweden, he is going to have this he's going to address Indo-Nordic Summit, and in UK he's going to have this live sort of discussion, live audience. He's going to have a live audience chat and things like that. So basically it's a curtain raiser that Prime Minister is going to be in Europe very shortly. Then Xi Jinping makes a surprise visit in South China Sea, and he observes this naval exercises that are going on over there. Then you have this 16 ministers, they have quit Sri Lankan government. So again, fresh trouble for Sri Lankan National Party. And inflation is a bit alright at present, somewhere around 4. So this is not bad at all. That's what RBI is trying to reach, or trying to clock this inflation somewhere around 4 point something. It should be bit below 4. That's what RBI is trying. And here you can see this, beg your pardon, here you can see navigation satellite IRNSS-1I, right? It's been placed in its right position by ISRO, so a good thing. And here you can see this a very right cartoon, right? Do let me know what you make out of this particular cartoon. I'm sure it won't be that difficult, but I would really love to hear your views and opinion on this cartoon. With this, dear friends, these are your answers, and these are your 2 new questions. Beg your pardon, just 1 new question, but this type of questions are difficult ones. So this is the reason why I provide you just 1 question when you have this sort of difficult question. So make sure you go through it. If you are not able to sort it out, then do locate these countries in your map, in your atlas. Then open your books, or you can also take help of internet, but don't look for this answer directly. Check this Central African country and its thematic map and its cultivation and other things, and then try to answer it. It may take a bit of time, but it is an exercise worth trying. That's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. Make sure you check out StudyIQ.com for up to 50% discount, and please don't forget to give us your like if you have learned something out of it. Pass your answers. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.